2. Measured out 2, 12, 17, 18-inch long, or 110 centimeters, 55 centimeters for 2 of them, okay? And the soldering iron's heating up, so you're seeing the melting plastic and the steam in the background. We're gonna have 2 of these tubes, all right? And 2. Equal in measurement. You will have the yardstick in school to use. We are going to take a bottle cap. We're going to gently take our soldering tool and make 2 small holes. I made the mistake the first time making the holes too large. You don't want to go all the way through. 2 small ones. You want them large enough for the actual tube to go through. So I'm not 100% sure if that's large enough, probably not. I'm just gonna make it a tad bit larger. It's my second time doing this, so we won't wanna make it too big this time. Okay, let's try that, see if that works. All right. Still not the best of fit. 1 fits. I'm gonna put it in. You can see we're going to poke it through just a little bit. You're able to see that. All right, and we're going to try to make the hole on the second one a little bit larger. Do not melt your tubing at all, so just take it out just in case. And we're going to make it a bit larger, the second hole. All right. See if that works. Okay, it does. Place them both around, both through. You see how I'm leaving a little bit of space? I'm not pushing it all the way to the end. We just want it to stick out just a teeny little bit. I'm going to unplug the soldering tool because we don't need it anymore, and the smoke just gets in your face and bothers you. So we're going to move that out of the way. I suggest wearing a mask when you're doing this, or goggles, because the smoke can get to you. The burning plastic just smells horrible. All right, so we have our 2 tubes in. Okay, this is how it should look. We're gonna take our hot glue gun. I like to do this as precautionary. And we are going to just put a little bit of glue around the tubing. I suggest not having your glue gun on high. Have it on a low heat. Put it all the way around. Let it dry. Okay. There we go. Just let it dry. I'm gonna put this to the side right now. Next, I already have pre-measured this, but I suggest measuring it to about 40 centimeters. Centimeters are the smaller ones in your ruler. All right. But if you prefer to do it in inches, let's see how many inches it is. What we're doing, 12. Try that again. 12, mark. 16 inches. So it'll be about 16 inches long, which is 40 centimeters. Okay. So it doesn't have to be perfectly straight, but what we are going to do is set that aside for now. We're going to finish up this part of the stethoscope. We're going to get our balloon. All right. And we're going to cut. Fortunately, my scissors aren't that sharp. We're going to take the little tail end of the balloon off, just throw it aside. And we're going to open this part up. All right. I'm just going to wrap it around the end. You want to make sure that it's nice and tight, because if you have little bubbles like this, it's not going to cause like an echo response, so we want it to be as tight as possible. Now in the classroom you are going to have rubber bands, but because I'm not in the classroom, I don't have all my materials here with me at home, I'm just going to use wire. If you want to use wire and be brave, go ahead. Sometimes you have to improvise and work with material that you have around you. And I'm just going to twist it on as tight as possible. Now I just suggest using a rubber band. That's fine. But if you're caught in a situation like me, just do with what you got. Oh yeah. Alright, and then I'm just going to wrap the wire around so that we don't have any loose pieces sticking out. And the best thing I think we can do for this is put a piece of duct tape, who's going to be your best friend. I'm going to tear it off into small, long pieces. Just put those extra pieces aside. And I'm going to wrap the wire around. I mean the tape around the wire so that we're not getting poked and prodded. And when we're experimenting on each other with these, should make a drum sound, okay? When we're experimenting with each other on these, we don't want to poke each other with them, okay? So you should have something that looks like this. Ta-da! Beautiful. And sounds like a drum, okay? All right. I'm gonna put my wire cutters aside, put them on safety, put them to the side, because we don't need them anymore. Back in the toolbox it goes. I'm gonna put her aside very gently. All right. So as you can see, it's starting to develop. What next? We have to put our wire in. So this is where it gets a little bit trickier and we need to measure, okay? Throw away the material that we don't need anymore. Not throw it away, but we put it away. Major rule when you are building, what you do on one side, you do on the other, okay? So when we are bending our wire to make the head gear part of our stethoscope, I am going to measure it out evenly because we have a 16-inch. We need to get it to 8 inches. Mark it with a pen or with a pencil at 8 inches. All right, and this should be center, so we're gonna see if it is center. Perfect, 8 inches, okay? It's still 8 inches on both sides. So I get a perfect measurement. And we're just gonna mark it again so I can make sure I can see it because it's getting dark and I am blind as a bat here. Not like you guys are gonna listen to most of my commentary anyways. You'll just keep asking me for help and questions. So we're at, I don't know if you can see it really closely. I marked it at the 8-inch mark. Both sides equal out to 8 inches. 8 inches is our center. So from there, I think I am going to go to the end and mark it down to 4 inches. And then I'm going to repeat the same thing on the other side. Mark it down to 4 inches. Okay, so we should have 4 inches, 8 inches, 4 inches on each side. Then we are going to mark 2 inches down. You're going to see why in a minute. It's going to seem very weird why I'm doing this. I should probably use a Sharpie. Let me pause and get a Sharpie. I recovered it with the Sharpie. Okay, so we're down 4 inches, 8 inches, and then 4 inches from the side. Next, we're going to do the 2 inches. I know this doesn't make sense right now, but just do what I'm telling you. You'll see in a minute. 2 inches on the end of one side, and then we're going all the way to the other side again, and we're doing 2 inches. All right, 2, 4, 8. We can all count by twos, and I'm doing this in inches for you because it's easier, even though I'm Canadian and I prefer the metric system. All right, so our centerpiece, we're going to bend it in the center. We don't want to make a V shape, but we kind of want to make a U shape, an oval shape, okay? Next, at our 4 inches, we're going to bend it just a little bit, okay? And then our 2 inches, we're going to bend all the way in. This is extremely pliable, okay? So you shouldn't have any difficulty pushing these in. If you do have difficulty, we have wire pliers that can help you, or wire or pliers to help you if you want to straighten out and you have like OCD like me. So this, you know, little bump is driving me crazy. But this is basically how we are going to try to have this, okay? This is what it's going to look like. Can everyone see? All right. Next, what we're going to do is measure down. We want to be able to put our wire on the inside here to create the stethoscope. So we want to be able to put the wire inside the tubing, all right? So we are going to measure the tubing around. So we know that it's about 8 inches. We need to measure 8 inches down. Okay. Let's say 8.5 inches. How about that? Because we want the tubing to be a little bit longer. And we're gonna do what we do on one side, we do on the other side. 8.5. Okay. Remember, guys, before you mark things, you measure twice, mark it. Okay? Always measure twice before you even consider cutting it. Now, I'm going to get delicate and use my X-Acto knife. I can reach over my tools. I'm going to use an X-Acto knife. This is where it's going to take craftsmanship, okay? We do not want to punch it all the way through, but we want to cut just a little slit. Just a little slit. And of course my X-Acto knife is fairly dull, but the ones I will get you, or I have for you, are not dull at all. So please be careful with them. All right. So as you can see, I got a very little slit in here, and I didn't cut all the way through. Do we understand? Do not cut all the way through. I'm gonna go here, do the same thing. My X-Acto knife is dull, dull, dull. We did not cut all the way through. The hole is just big enough to get our wiring through. So we're going to take one side of our wire and we're going to push it through. Just very gently. We don't want to tear the tubing, okay? Okay. Took me a while, but there you go. I'll probably end up giving you either bigger tubing or smaller gauge. I'm just gonna cut this down just a teeny bit. We want to have it of equal size. Okay. All right, so next what we are going to do is we need to add something to protect our ears here at the end, okay? So I just got these little sponges here. What we're going to do is manipulate them to make them work the way we need them to. Safety cap on. We can put this aside, we don't need it anymore. I'm going to take my scissors. I'm going to cut off a couple of even strips of sponge. At this point, it doesn't really matter the measuring aspect behind it. It's just to protect your ears. Some of you guys can actually use earflicks if you want. You can figure out a way how to do that. So what I'm doing is I'm going to have my tape ready. Yeah, make it into strips. I make this look easier than what it is. Just make it into strips. And just put it aside. I cut a couple of pieces of thin sponge. We're going to take one end and we're just going to wrap it around. So it's almost looking like cotton candy. You want to make sure the plastic part is not at the very end, but very close to the end. And we're going to do it tight around the tubing, okay? So it's going to look almost like a little ice cream cone, and we're going to take our tape, wrap it around. We're going to do that for both sides, okay? Take the second side, we wrap it around. Take the tape, wrap it around the tubing. There you go. It's getting tight. And then right here, down at the end, just gonna wrap this down flat. This little part. I'm gonna tape them together first. The cross section, tape it together. Midsection, tape it together. Okay. If you want to tape it all the way up, you can. To make it more pretty, you can do that, that's fine. And then how we're going to see if it works is, I'm going to place it on our ears. Make sure it's good and in there. And if you can hear the tapping going all the way through, then it works. Okay, if it doesn't, then we gotta hear it. We gotta figure out what's wrong, how we can analyze the problem, and how we can actually fix it. Okay, you should be hearing an echoing going from here, a thumping, going all the way through. And so if we go onto our partner or someone in class and check their heart, we will be able to do that. All right, one more thing. Good job, guys.